Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and hopefully not too stressed. My blood pressure has been quite crazy. I take that kind of heart monitoring app from work, and it's been telling me, warning, warning. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's usually, to be honest, when I'm stressed either about work or more often stressed about what's happening in this world under Donald Trump, which is, I don't like being right. And I know many of you wish we were not right about Donald Trump. But there is comfort in knowing that our senses are not completely crazy like everyone else telling us. You saw so many people saying, oh my God, the left is crazy. Oh my God, these people are overreacting. And when I would talk to individuals who supported Donald Trump, they would tell me, you watch, Matthew, everything's going to be great. And of course, then they would say terrible things about me. But now, everything that has happened, with Donald Trump and his policy, seeing Americans be killed, him attacking other countries, grocery prices increasing, prices of everything increasing, and then you see the examples of those who support Donald Trump and his own administration face the repercussions that come with aligning yourself with Donald Trump. And yet, his supporters see this and still say, yeah, I support that man. It's kind of baffling. So I'm like, I've always kind of kept this in my mind. How someone treats someone else is going to be a sign of how they are going to treat you, right? I mean, pretty obvious, but, you look at how he's treated, let me see, like Rudy Giuliani, who after 9/11 was seen in a very positive light, even by myself. Then he moved to represent Trump, be in the administration, and he became a laughingstock and really just showed how corrupt and how willing he was to kiss Donald Trump in the ass just for his own personal gain. And I have no idea, maybe Trump had something on him. You see Sidney Powell, another person, a lawyer who represented Donald Trump, and I always think about her in that leopard print shirt that she had saying Hugo Chavez. And she is, again, another person, laughingstock. Kristi Noem recently moved to another position, essentially fired from her position previously. They said because she was spending on all these ads to promote whatever she was doing. And that's the reason why. Not because of the killing of the two Americans and the harassment of ICE and just how bad everything has gotten in this country because of her leadership under ICE, over ICE. Pam Bondi recently fired, right? And she was somebody who went to that hearing and said, the Dow is up 500 or 50,000 points as she's being asked about the withholding of the files of Jeffrey Epstein, right? Laughed at. And here she is, after everything she's done to support this man, she's out. Mike Pence, Donald Trump's vice president in his first term. When January 6th came about and they were storming the Capitol, Trump supporters, Donald Trump was saying that he wished that Mike Pence was attacked, according to reports. If you're loyal to Donald Trump, it's only a matter of time, no matter how loyal you are. He has no respect for you. Sorry, I gotta adjust something. It was just falling. And no matter how loyal you are to him, he's going to turn on you. And he doesn't care. The minute that you start struggling and you start facing the consequences of supporting him, he's not going to stand by you. He's in it for himself. He doesn't respect anyone who is going to bend to him, to bend to his will. So seeing this, everything that he's done, people still support him. Now, as I talk about this topic, I'm going to try to be empathetic because I, too, have supported, let's say, the idea of the Democratic Party. I'm still a registered Democrat. I'm not going to change that because I want to reshape the Democratic Party and vote in the primaries. Something that I have not done a lot in the past, which my fault. And I was like, oh yeah, the Democrats, if you're a Democratic leader, you have the same ideology as me. Not true. A stupid assumption, really. And then I also found myself being blindly loyal to certain brands and businesses, thinking they actually cared. I know, stupid, because ads are made to give that perception to us, make us think that, but in reality, a business is here just to make money. So I'm trying to use those examples of things I've experienced and apply it to this kind of thought process to try to explore why people still support Donald Trump. Now, I don't think that the Democratic base is like the MAGA base, because their support is unwavering despite everything. There's people leaving, but the MAGA base, I saw a recent poll on CNN, 100% support for Donald Trump. When Biden did terrible after that debate, and his wife was like, Jill Biden went on stage with him after that debate and was like, oh my God, you answered the questions. I was like, yes, he answered the questions, but did you pay attention to how bad it was? And myself, including other people, right, regular voters, were like, we need to do something. This is not working. And you even saw Democratic leadership then turn on Biden. So there is ways in the party and the Democratic side to change things. What's frustrating, and I plan to talk about this in a future video, is that Democratic establishment leadership like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Kristen Gillibrand, right, establishment, they will bend to Trump, right? They will stay silent right now as he's doing everything that he's doing, because I don't really see much fight from them, the establishment Democrats. And for us as voters, we're doing the work. You know, there's people going out and protesting. We're voicing our concerns. We're calling. I'm writing, letters and calling. I'm like voicing my concern, having these conversations with these people and actually saying, yeah, Israel is committing a genocide. And just because you're against Israel does not mean that you're against the Jewish people, right? Like, there's lots of things the United States is doing that I don't support, but I care about the American citizens, like this government, this administration, yeah, corrupt, evil. So you can separate the two. And when it comes to the blatant killing of civilians, yeah, there's a difference. So again, there's problems on the Democratic side. That's a separate conversation. But today we're going to focus on, why do people still support Trump? I don't know, right? I'm trying to use my examples of watching individuals in my own family who support Donald Trump, or individuals on Facebook that I see just continuously support him no matter what. They get into these little fine nuances of picking on the Democrats, calling them party of the KKK and all these other things and saying, look how ridiculous they are. They're crazy. They support trans people. So Democrats, or Republicans, I should say, MAGA, Trump, will use simple messaging to get individuals of various perspectives and beliefs under one roof. And some of that, as an example, is protect our borders. Now, that language means something different to everyone. And Republicans let you determine what it means to you. Now, they'll give some talking points when they start attacking other individuals, but it's very broad in their attack of, like, Democrats just want criminals to come over, right? Everyone agrees that they don't want criminals coming over. So when you think about protect the borders, some people are going to say, oh yeah, other countries or other people bringing guns and who knows what else over. Yeah, we need to make sure we know what's coming across our borders. That makes sense. Other people look at it as, oh, anyone who's not white doesn't deserve to come over here. We need to close those borders, right? Two different perspectives looking at that message in two different ways, right? So that one message, everyone's looking at it and defining it in their own terms. Family values, right? Some people will say, oh yeah, I think that I should be able to have the right to decide what's right for my family. That, we shouldn't have the government stepping in and what's right for our family. Other people look at it as there only should be one man and one woman, and that's it. Again, two different perspectives for one message, which is very simple. Get the criminals out, right? Everyone could agree that there shouldn't be criminals, but then the administration will go after more people. And some people are okay with that because they're like, hey, doesn't matter if you came here illegally or not. Technically, I believe that you shouldn't be here. So all this while ignoring the corruption under Donald Trump. Now, the second thing that I find is the control, right? The way I think that MAGA, Donald Trump does this, and the Republicans, is using a term like pick yourself up by your bootstraps. This is in line with how in religion, I think Christians will use the story of Adam and Eve, right? So if you start questioning the church about, let's say, a story or decisions that they're making, your pastor, they'll say, well, you know what happened to Eve, and knowledge is bad, so don't question me, right? So Republicans will use the pick yourself up by your bootstraps to tell their constituents, you're going to go through temporary suffering right now as you watch Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and the other wealthy individuals get a lot of money day one and continue to make a mass amount of wealth without suffering. But you're told, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. We deserved what we got, even though they're corporate welfare. And people will go, yeah, I'm temporary suffering. I'm going to get through it. We're going to do great one day. Yeah. Even though he said it was day one, but you're still now moving the goalpost and he keeps on moving it while he steals from you. And this messaging of pick yourself up by your bootstraps also allows them to keep your fellow Republicans, fellow MAGA in check. So when they start complaining to you, you're like, just work hard, man. Look, I did it. And then you feel guilty and you're like, you know what? You're right. So you keep completely ignore while the rich, again, get richer right in front of you and don't suffer at all. They complain about taxes and you're like, yeah, they shouldn't have to pay that many taxes. They're creating jobs. They were creating jobs before when they were taxed at 70% a long time ago. And then there's number 3. They love to create villains, the Republicans and MAGA. So they'll go after trans individuals, saying that they're trying to indoctrinate your kids, spread lies about them. They'll go after immigrants, saying they're criminals. They'll go after black individuals, attacking DEI and wokeness. They'll go after the poor, saying they're committing fraud. The left, they'll say they're crazy. They'll say they're violent. Even though the left, we promote the words of DEI, right? Unity, compassion. They'll call us snowflakes. We want gun control, but yet we're violent. When we call you out on you bullying, we're the violent ones. Makes no sense. They'll try to villainize other countries, such as Ukraine, right? Even though Ukraine was forced into a situation where, hey, they gave up the nuclear weapons and they gave it back to Russia, right? And then the United States said, hey, we're going to protect you, right? And then all of a sudden, the United States is nowhere. Republicans will even make villains out of your neighbors. So that's number 3, right? Now, sorry, looking at my notes here. Now, a lot of people trust Donald Trump so much so in the Republican Party that they will give them the power of their thoughts to make decisions on behalf of them, because they look at Donald Trump and see a successful person. So obviously he knows more than me, right? So he must be good at making these decisions. He must know more than I. And I see some people in interviews will say, about what's going on with Iran. They'll go, hey, do you think this is right? They go, I don't know. Donald Trump says a lot. And they go, oh, what examples has he given in regards to, why he's going in there? And does it make sense based on what you found? And they're like, I don't really pay attention. I guess I should pay attention to what he's saying and investigate, right? Because if you actually paid attention, you realize he's just talking out of his ass like he always does. So they'll give all these rich people, because they look at that as them being successful, that they're smart and they don't have the time to make decisions, right? And they'll give the complete power to Donald Trump to make those decisions for you. And if you have the keys to someone else's, bank account or access to their wallet, and you're someone like Donald Trump who's defrauded so many people and been sued so many times and gone bankrupt, yeah, what he's going to do is he's going to take that money out of your bank account. He's going to abuse you, And you're just going to be okay with it because you trust him because he's rich. And when the people see that he's fighting, right, angry on TV, they go, he's fighting for us. No, he's fighting for himself. He's not fighting for you. If you've gotten anything from Trump, that is just a byproduct which wasn't intentional, okay? He didn't mean to help you. It just so happens that you benefited for something he did. And there's very few people that have. So many people respect him, right? A lot of people go, oh my God, look all the business people respecting him. Look all the people who are bending to him. That's because they're afraid of him for some reason, right? Because he probably has dirt on them. And the other reason is because businesses want something from him. They want their mergers. They want to make lots of money. They want deregulation. So they're willing to give Donald Trump whatever he wants at the sacrifice of the American people. So media companies, they're afraid of him. And that in turn creates an environment where you see the both sides of things. Like two Americans being killed and others being killed, right? Immigrants being dehumanized. They're like, well, there's two sides to the story, guys. Let's think about what the Democrats have done. What? In this situation, sorry, there's one person, and that's Donald Trump and his administration. You know, they tried to lie to us, even though we saw what we saw. And a lot of people were like, wait, how are we watching the same thing and these MAGA Republicans are seeing something different? That's because they gave their power of their thought to Donald Trump. He makes the decisions what they saw. And they completely ignore it, but what their own eyes are telling them. Very frustrating. So I'm going to close off with this. Where do we go from here? What's the future? I think eventually you have some people starting to ask questions. And Donald Trump doesn't like that. And when they start asking more and more questions, they start to see the pieces of this puzzle or this whole orchestration crumble, right? So as people start to suffer, they're going to start asking questions. And I'm like, I'm blaming the trans individuals. And then they go, wait, all the trans individuals have been suppressed. Like, who else is to blame? Oh, the immigrant. Wait, you locked them up. Wait, they don't have any jobs, right? Oh, black individuals. Wait, DEI has been removed from lots of places, and I'm still suffering, right? I think that they want lots of empathy as they leave Trump and MAGA, and it's really hard for individuals who are on the left because we have watched you laugh and ignore. Not all of you, right? Laugh and ignore the suffering of others and completely tell us that we're crazy or being ridiculous. Sorry, itchy nose. So I think there are people who are willing to, do that work. There's others who are exhausted. You have to be compassionate with them as well. I think one thing we need to do as Democrats or on the left is reshape the Democratic Party. Lots of these Democrats are just staying quiet and not really fighting. And they think that just because they're winning, right? We're fighting against an administration which is obviously crazy. When you're in power, you need to be held accountable. So all these voters, all these electorate, American citizens are doing the work. And when you're in power, we're going to go, well, now it's your turn to face repercussions of being voted out if you're not going to fight for us. And that's why the Democratic Party has such a low approval rating. A lot of them are sitting quiet, and that's why you see like the establishment Democrats get so upset that progressives are getting the attention because they're willing to fight. You're not doing anything. And it's very clear that you are either very loyal to Israel over the United States, or you're loyal to rich people, or your own self-interest. You don't care about us. So, this temporary win for you as Democrats is going to potentially put you in the same position back and forth, this pendulum swinging back and forth while American people lose. So you've got to stand up and do something. So hopefully people on the right and MAGA will see like, oh my gosh, if the Democrats Party is successful in reshaping itself, they'll go, I want that. I want a party that fights for me. I want a party that delivers and makes a difference in my life. And they'll hopefully reshape the Republican Party and hold them accountable too. And I hope the Democrats do as well for The Democratic leadership holds those Republicans who have abused their constituents and lied to them and taken advantage of them. And the rest of us, unfortunately, we're going along for this ride. For those of us who voted against Donald Trump, right, and voted for Kamala Harris, we're going down this path, and I feel really unfortunate for us. Now, there's people who decided not to vote saying, hey, they're both the same. And now they're figuring out, oh my God, they're not the same. Because I don't think a Democrat would have done this. Now, yes, there's problems on the Democratic side, but not to this extent. And so those who voted for Donald Trump, those who decided not to vote, those who say, oh, they're both the same, are starting to figure it out that, yeah, there's a clear difference between what you voted for or decided not to vote for at all. So I hope people wake up. I hope that people go out and vote. What do you think? Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything that you feel like I am completely wrong about? If you have voted for Donald Trump and now have changed your way, I'm interested in knowing your perspective, because I'm not sure. I'm trying to understand. I've watched my family member go in there. They're very disconnected from the news. They don't really watch a lot of the news. They allowed their partner to tell them what's going on. And that's really unfortunate, considering that their own family members have suffered at the hands of this individual with some of the policy changes. But yet they still support, because they trust that, I guess because they see their partner as being successful, that they must know the answers, right? Now, I will say this. I have not seen in my personal life individuals move away from Donald Trump at all. I don't see them supporting him as much vocally, but they have not denounced him or said they're going to switch from supporting him. I know there's videos on YouTube of people doing this, but I have not seen it in my own personal life. Let me know if you've seen it, if you've had family members or have known other people to actually voice like, oh my God, I regret it. I'm happy to see that people are starting to wake up and realize, but in my own personal life, I have not witnessed it. And that makes me a little worried that a lot of the news about people switching over is potentially not correct. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a nice day. Bye.